In this video, we'll talk about selection. Selecting an object is as easy as just clicking on it. Make sure that you have chosen any of these move, rotation, or scale tool or the selection tool. Now let's talk about selecting the components. Let me go inside Edge. If I click on one edge, it will select just that edge. But notice what happens if I double click on an edge. It selects the entire edge loop. I can also select an edge loop by selecting one and pressing the up arrow. If I press up arrow once again, it will select the edge ring. We can also select a loop of faces. I'll go to face, select one face, and double click with shift key on the next face so that you can see that it selects all these other faces. Now once I make a selection, I can also grow the selection or shrink the selection. For that, let's click on one face here and press Control key and right click to choose Grow Selection. Control, right click, Grow Selection, and this will keep on growing the selection to the next set of faces. I can also shrink selection by pressing Control key, right click, and choosing Shrink Selection. So these are some quick and easy ways to make selections. While working with component mode, sometimes you might want to go back to the object mode and it might not be that easy. In that case, if you got stuck like that, you can go up here and instead of component mode, we can choose the object mode. So that you can see that immediately I've gone back to my object mode instead of that component mode. So this concludes this video on selections and object and component modes. In this video, we'll talk about Extrude tool. Now, Extrude is the mostly used tool in polygon modeling. To access the Extrude tool, we will have to first make a selection of a face. I'll go ahead and right click on this object, go to face, and I'll click on this top face. We can access the Extrude tool either by shift right clicking on the object, and there you have Extrude face, or we can also go to modeling and choosing edit mesh extrude. If I click on it, now we get a new gizmo. Now this is unlike the move, rotate, and scale tool. This gives you all the three tools together in a single tool, and this gizmo is called manipulator tool. So I can move the extruded object, I can rotate it by selecting from the outside. We get this 3-axis here, or I can scale it by picking any one of these small boxes. I can scale it. So as you can see, from one face I have created now 4 extra faces. Let me do the same extrude in the right side here. I'll select the face. This time I'll hold shift key, right click, and choose extrude face. And I'm going to click and drag to pull it out and release. If I select here, I can also scale it. Now keep in mind, whenever you're extruding, it is important to bring that face out. Otherwise, if you just create an extrude and release the mouse or click outside, what will happen is there will be 4 hidden faces between these edges. This will give us problems later. So keep in mind, whenever you're creating an extrude, make sure that you pull that extruded face out. Let's go ahead and make some more extrudes. I'll select this, shift right click, choose extrude face. I'm going to pull it up. Okay, and I'm going to do one more extrude, pull it up. Now this time I can also extrude from 2 sides. For example, I'll select this side and I'll hold shift key and select this side, shift right click, and choose extrude face. Now you can see that we've extruded from 2 sides. I'm going to pull it up. Now you will find a small issue. Now this can be fixed by either changing to our move tool, That means it'll just move both these faces up, or we can click on the small icon here. So that puts the gizmo in the center of both of them. So now I can pull both of them up. Great. Now I'm going to do one more extrude. Okay, great. I'm going to do another two extrudes here. One here and one here. Extrude face. Great. Now you will also notice that there are a lot of history information coming up. So every single extrude that you do will be saved in your input area as history information. Okay, so when we get a lot of history information, it's just better to delete the history so that we can have a clean model. To delete the history, we can go to Edit, Delete by Type, History. So this concludes the video of understanding the Extrude tool. In this video, we'll start creating a cartoonistic tree. I'll go to Create menu, Polygon Primitives, and choose Cube. Let me press the keyboard shortcut F to maximize the view. I'm going to right click on the object and choose Face, and I'll start to extrude the top face. Select the face, press Shift, right click, and choose Extrude. Let's pull it up. I'm going to pull it up quite high. Okay, and I'm going to decide the total height of the tree. So considering the width of the trunk, I think I'll push it somewhere here. Now the root of the base of the tree will be wider and the top will be thinner. So what I'll do is I'll select my scale tool, make it thin. I'm going to push it to the side. Now we have to make this to be more smooth. In order to make it smooth, we have to add more divisions in between. To add more divisions, I'm going to right click and choose Select, so that will take me back to the object mode. I can shift right click and choose Insert Edge Loop tool. So this will add more divisions wherever we want. So I'll go ahead and click in the middle. So we get that there. Okay, so we've got one division here. And we can actually access this last used tool anytime we want right from here. I'll go ahead and change my move tool and I'll pull it out here. So now we can see that we have a better smoothed result. Good. I'm going to add more divisions. So let's say I'll click on this, add here. I'll go to the move tool again, pull it like that, so we get a bit more smoother result. I'll add one more here. Great. So now instead of just having a straight line, we have a smooth surface. Great. Now I want to create one branch right from here. So to create a branch, all I have to do is do an extrude. Now I have a rectangular shaped face. I don't want to extrude from that. So I want to add one more edge loop here. Okay, so we have somewhat squarish face. Now I'll change to my move tool, right click and choose the face, and I select this face. From here I can do one more extrude by holding shift key, right click and choose extrude. So pull it out, make it smaller. I'm going to pull it up by changing to move tool. I use this shortcut key W, pull it up. I can make it even smaller, and I can also rotate it to point the face up. I'm going to add more divisions here. I'll right click and choose select to select the object, shift right click and go to insert edge loop tool again. So I can select, click here so that we can add more divisions here. Change to move tool, rotate it like so. I'll go ahead and select the object. Now it's actually in unsmooth mode. To make it smooth, we can press the shortcut key 3 in the keyboard, number 3. So when I press number 3, as you can see, it becomes smooth and it looks nice. I think it's a bit thinner everywhere, so I'll make it a bit thicker. I'll go to vertex mode. I'm going to select all these vertices down here and scale them. Okay, don't select everything together, just select those vertices in those places and you can scale them. Now depending on how much detail we want to have, we can add more and more divisions. So let's say this top area is becoming too much squeezed out, so we can actually add more divisions there. So I'll take my insert edge loop tool. I can add one division here, I can add one division here, one here, one here, one here, one here. So let's see, I'll have to, now keep in mind whenever you add a division, it's always a good idea to tweak it slightly to make it go to the same path. Now when I'm in edge mode, if I want to select more than one edges, I can also double click on it. So if I just click on it, it selects one edge. If I double click on it, it selects the entire edge loop. So that's an easy tool. Otherwise, I can also select with the vertex. So for example, if I want to select all of these, I can right click and choose vertex, and I'll select all the vertices just by clicking and dragging. So I can adjust them like that. Select all these vertices, pull them closer. Great. So now let's smooth it out. Press 3. Okay, it looks much nicer. Now let's create the root. I'll go ahead and select all these 4 faces. And I'm going to shift right click and choose extrude. Now when I pull it out, you'll notice that it's actually coming together. We don't want them to come together. We want them to come separate. Now to separate these faces, all we have to do is in the options of polygon extrude face, we have to click on this keep faces together off. So I'll just click on it so you can see that it has splitted it. Now notice that I'm using the Maya 2016 version. If you have a previous version, let's say anything before 2014, you'll have to go to edit mesh, and there's an option here that says keep faces together. So if you don't get this option here, you can go to edit mesh and choose keep faces together. And once we did that, let's go ahead and scale it to smaller size. I'm going to pull it down. I'll again use the same tool here and pull this down to make it flat, and I'll just release it. Now I always like to keep the grid as the ground plane, so I'll just pull it slightly up. So part of the roots will be under the ground and part of it will be outside the ground. Now I can just model it. I can continue modeling this roots. So I'll just pull this further. So I'll go to face tool, choose this, pull this further down. Okay, and I can make it even smaller. I'll continue to add more divisions. Select, shift, right click, choose insert edge loop tool. So I'll add one here. I'm going to slightly pull it to the side. Now I can also continue modeling this root area to make it a bit more uneven shape. Just to make it more like a tree. I can also pull these vertices out. I can also do one more extrude if I want. make it smaller. I'll keep one side to be a bit thicker actually. Select it, shift right click, choose here. Okay, so this side also I'll make it even longer. So let's say select. I'll select this face, make it smaller. Okay, something like that. So let's make sure that all four of them are uneven, not looking like each other. Good. So now if I press 3 to smooth it, so that's how it's going to look. Maybe I can pull one side to be down, so I can go back to unsmooth mode by pressing 1, edge, pull this down. I can also pull these vertices down to match with that. Let me press 3 so it looks much nicer. When we add a ground, for example, I can just go to take polygon tool, add a plane, and make the plane bigger. So now it would look like, yeah, it looks like a tree that is on the ground. So this concludes this video. In the next video, we'll create the leaves for the tree.